I hope you guys are having a good day. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins from Your Black World and the Black Business School. And I want to say hello to everybody. And I hope that you guys are having a great day. Today is a day that I get a chance to talk about something that's important. It's a very important cause, very important issue. And it has to do with Black women and cancer. That at least that's what's on my mind today. And so my special guest today is Miss Tiffany Stoner. Tiffany is the founder of Ingas House, and Ingas House helps women single women that are dealing with cancer. And so before I even talk anymore, I want to ask Tiffany, how you doing today?
I'm doing great, boys. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well, very well. And so, let's just start jumping in this conversation. Now you are from Louisville, Kentucky, which is where I'm from. That's where Breonna Taylor, was killed, and so there's a lot of attention on Louisville, and also with health right now. With health, especially in our community, that's come under the radar, but only in certain areas, right? There's other
Right.
areas that seem that they could use more attention. And so you and I had talked, and you were telling me about cancer and the challenges that single women have to endure when they face cancer and facing it alone and the difficulties of that. And so let's start at the beginning. So you had a cousin named Inga
Yes.
who dealt with breast cancer, and that inspired you to take action to help other people. Can you kind of talk about that?
Yes. My first cousin, Inge Debro, she was diagnosed with breast cancer at the age of 42. And she was first initially diagnosed with, initially she went to the doctor and because she had a lump come up on her breast. And during that time, the first initial appointment, they just said, oh, here's some antibiotics. It's nothing, come back later, come back a couple of weeks if you're not doing any better. Well, before she can even come back to the follow-up appointment, another lump appeared instantly. It was not like a gradual lump. It just appeared overnight. And so she went back and the lady had asked, start asking her more questions. Was she a smoker? Which she was. Had she ever had a mammogram? Which she did not. And then they began to run more tests because she insisted on it. And then that's when she was diagnosed with stage 3 and 4 breast cancer.
Wow. So Inga, tell me about the relationship. Was she a cousin or a very close cousin? I mean, what?
She was a very close cousin. She was my first cousin. My mom and her dad are brothers and sisters, and we pretty much grew up together. As kids. When my dad would come in town, he would always take me to my aunt, or I would go by there. So we were really close. As we got into my late teens, we really became closer. As I was going off to college, but she stayed in Louisville. And just, close, I was pretty much the confidant. I'm the social worker of the family, pretty much literally. So she would always, give me her burdens. And so with her health burdens, and I would always, try to encourage her to go see about it. But she was very health conscious too. Don't get me wrong. She was health conscious, but during those difficult moments, she would always talk to me.
Well, the interesting thing is that, I think sometimes all of us, because we get into either the strong black man or strong black woman mode, where we feel like we have to stay there like that all the time. We don't think about our health. We don't
Right.
go to the doctor, may not get our checkups. We may say, oh, it'll be okay. I'll just will it away, whatever it is. So it almost sounds like she might have challenged or struggled with some of that too. Just, if you are a single woman, I imagine that's a difficulty. What do you think?
Yeah. Yeah, I think, for the most part, she took, her physical, but not like a mammogram. I think at that point at 42 years old, I think I might have took mine maybe like at maybe 40, you know what I'm saying? But that's not your forefront, sort of taking your mammogram, especially if cancer is not really showing up at that time in our family. Now it's showing up more prevalent. However, I just think, we get busy. Everybody gets busy. You feel that little soreness or something like, I keep having this, but oh, it's maybe nothing. I was at the gym or I was lifted too much weight. You just kind of make excuses and, put it off. But I'm learning the more I get, the older I get, is that we need to really take every little change in our body more seriously.
Yeah, especially as we get over the age of 40, I imagine. I mean,
Absolutely. Yes. Yes.
yeah. So everybody who just came in, I'm speaking with Miss Tiffany Stoner. We're talking about Ingas House. Ingas House is a nonprofit organization that Miss Stoner founded to honor her late cousin Inga. What was Inga's last name, by the way?
Inge Debro.
Inga,
Debro.
Inge
Mhm.
Debro, and that's Debro. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct.
And it rather than just allowing the grief, I what I like about what you did with Inga's house is Tiffany is, you had this tragedy, and you've
Yes.
turned this into something that will benefit so many other people. So
Yes.
go ahead, please.
Yeah, I was just going to say absolutely, absolutely. When you shook with grief like that early, young loss, you want to do something with it. You want to channel that energy other than just be complacent and just dwell in that grief, right? And so actually, initially, I started out, what can I do? My question was, what can I do in her honor? What would any young woman need to know? And I came up with actually beautiful Know Your Worth for girls camp, all girls camp for self-esteem camp. And then as I kind of maneuvered through the camps, I did three different camps, but Beautiful Know Your Worth was in her honor. As I started thinking about it, I said, well, you know what? I want to do more for the women battling cancer. And then I just started putting the ideal together, putting it in writing, actually just kind of writing it in my journal. And I just love to journal. And so I just started putting it in my journal, just talking to my Heavenly Father. And from there, actually, boys, I was in a car accident, two car accidents within a week, April of 2019. I had a major concussion and I was healing. I had a lot of sensitivity going on. So my doctor told me to go into the woods and heal, and that's where I found myself speaking and journaling and writing. And it was just the Holy Spirit was like, hey, let's move forward. And I just started moving forward with it. And I'm telling you, it just was happened pretty much immediately. Everything just kind of fall into place.
Well, you know what's funny, Tiffany, is as you tell the journey of how you started Inga's house, it really makes me think about just how the circle of life really works. That when you think about, for example, if something dies and it goes into the ground, that becomes fertilizer to grow something else, right? Even something as that is as unthinkable or as uninteresting as the waste that comes from our bodies can be
Yes.
used to fertilize something else.
Mm-hmm.
So it almost seems to me that that there's no such thing as a pure negative or a pure tragedy or pure waste. It's there's always something on the other side, and you have to do that journey to go to the other side. So when I hear you speak, and I can tell you are a woman that has tremendous spirituality. You are a person that has tremendous reflection, and also you cared about Inga as you care about the world. It almost sounds to me like your spirituality and your reflection led you down a pathway where you were able to get to the other side of that dark tunnel.
Yes, it led me to my purpose.
Tell me more about that. Talk about that in terms of finding purpose and how that felt for you.
Yeah, it was so much joy. I mean, when you when you talk about spirituality, you want to be obedient, right? And we all want to find our true purpose. And I thought I was living in my purpose. Doing social work for 25 years, helping families and kids consistently, working in my church, and I thought I was doing it. But when I came on this journey with Inga and seeing, her struggle, seeing her argue with insurance companies, seeing her trying to maneuver with resources and financial resources and just medical resources and the best doctors, I come to find, you know what? I can use all the skills, my innate abilities, my educational background, my desire to help people and change lives. I can use all this with this. And so when I was thrust into this, I was like, okay, God, I'm using it all. I'm using it all for your good. And what I am lacking, you're going to provide. And that's what he did.
Well, everybody who's watching, I'm speaking with Miss Tiffany Stoner. She is the founder of Ingas House. Ingas House is a nonprofit organization that was founded in memory of her friend Inge Debro, who died from breast cancer. And this organization, it's in my home city, Louisville, so I am feeling attached to that for a lot of reasons. And also, if you love Black women, a woman, any woman in your life,
any woman, yes.
But I'm gonna tell you the truth. But I'm a fan of Black women. I can't.
Me
pretend.
too. I'm a Black woman.
There we go. It's okay to be Black, and But I think if you care about this, then you have to really say and act and do things that are consistent with how you feel. So everybody watching, first of all, please hit the thumbs up button, hit the share button, hit the subscribe button. Please share the story with anybody that you know that can benefit from it. Also, you can make a donation to Ingas House. Ingas House, INGES. It's in the chat. INGES, ingashouse.org. Ingashouse.org. Did I get that right?
Yes, you did. Yes.
Yeah, so I'm gonna make a donation. I'm gonna go right there right now, right after we get done, Tiffany. I'm gonna go there and make a donation, and I hope others that are watching will follow suit, because we gotta support our sisters that are dealing with this. I mean, you know what really got to me, Tiffany, about Inga's House and how you created it was, cancer's bad enough, right?
Yes.
I mean, I hate cancer. My late grandmother, they took her. My father, his cancer. I just can't. I mean, cancer it makes me so mad. I ain't gonna lie. When they had the vaccine for the corona stuff, just like that, I was like, y'all been working on cancer for 60 years. Can't y'all fix that too? Since we had it, why don't we throw that in there? But that's neither here nor there. But so cancer itself is bad enough. But dealing with it as a single woman, that part is something I don't think people reflect on that enough. Like my late grandmother. Yeah, my late grandmother was a single woman who she she got married at 15 and divorced at 17. and she had all her kids, and raised 5 kids by herself. Mm-hmm. And it was just, I mean, when you talk about that stereotypical strong Black grandma, I mean, she checked every box, right? And I consider it to be a compliment. My grandmother, we named the Black Business School. We named the Panther in the Black Business School after my grandmother, Felicia. That's how I keep her alive. So Felicia's always guarding over me when I'm talking. Mm-hmm. And so anyway, my grandmother, I did not know this actually until she died, that she has struggled with different kinds of cancer for like 25 years.
Wow.
And here's the thing, a lot of the strongest women, they're trained early to kind of suffer in silence.
Absolutely.
And my grandmother did that. Yeah, I because I heard stories later about how years ago she had cancer and had to would go get her chemotherapy and then would go to work, and nobody even knew she was going to get chemo.
My aunt, did the same thing. Yes.
Really? Can you speak to that? Just because I like the fact that this organization is specifically focused on the challenges of single women dealing with this, because I think that's a whole nother challenge in itself.
It is. It's definitely a whole nother medical need in itself. Absolutely. I'll say the same thing as I was just mentioning about my aunt. My mom's sister, her oldest sister, she battled cervical cancer. Nobody in the family even knew she had it, until she had went through all her chemotherapy, all her treatments. Now, I will tell you that it came back after 28 years later, it came back and it took her out within 6 months. And we knew that time around, she shared it and she was like, well, hey, I'm not going to do any more. I'm not going to do chemo. I know what I felt like the first time around. But remember, the first time around, you were by yourself and you chose not to tell anyone. Right, to be a support system, and you might not would have had that much trauma had you reached out and told somebody. You didn't have to walk it alone, right? And so this last time when she came back, of course we were there, but it was stage 4. It was stage 4. King returned, and she was given 6 months to live, and she literally left out of here in 6 months. So this cancer thing is really important to me. Matter of fact, right now, my second aunt is in transition now, battling cancer. My brother-in-law has multiple myeloma, and my uncle has lung cancer, and they all live in the Louisville area. So when we talk about other issues, well, I'm thinking about environmental issues as well, especially in Louisville, Kentucky. I can just tell you start naming people that are battling cancer, and I'm concerned about that. Let alone just a single woman battling cancer, but environmentally, what's in the foods, what's in our environment, all the chemical plants, all these things are becoming factors that we really need to address in our community.
Well, it's interesting you mentioned that, Tiffany, because, I mean, being in Louisville, Kentucky's been, in the national spotlight for months now. And because of a Black woman, Breonna Taylor, and what she went through. And and what I think is good about the conversation with Ingas House and things like Black women and cancer is I think it actually allows us to really get into a conversation where we go from, Black Lives Matter to all Black Lives Matter.
Yes.
Not all lives matter. I ain't doing that, but
Right.
all Black Lives Matter, meaning that
Yes.
that there are so many women in our country that are just going through all kinds of things, and I think that it's very important, especially any men that are watching. I think it's important that we take a step back, because I do believe that some of that, when they talk about male privilege and stuff like that, so some of that is there
Mm-hmm.
in that I've noticed that the women in my life tend to pay more attention to how I'm doing than the men in my life pay attention to how the women are doing. And
Absolutely.
yeah,
And that becomes a double-edged sword too, right? Because then we have that independence up that is not we're conditioned to worry about others in our lives versus ourselves, and we're putting ourselves on the back burner and we're suffering. And I believe that is why the numbers as far as in our health, the percentages increases when it comes to Black male women. But I think that's part of it.
Yeah, well, and I think that what it is that's interesting too is I don't think I mean when I thought about times where I have not been able to be as sensitive or as I should be, I don't think it's always just because somebody's trying to be a bad person. Sometimes you just I men, we have to learn how to be nurturers. We're not, it doesn't naturally come as part of who we are. And so when I think about the women that really nurtured me, there was never an expectation that I return the favor. I always thought of my role as the man to provide and protect, right? And we've had even a breakdown of some of that,
Absolutely. Yes.
And so I really think that when you're talking about Black women and the cancer issue, and I am also thinking about Black people and the family issue, just how men and women deal with each other, just everything from love and relationships to even how you deal with a Black woman that, I keep saying Black woman, but I know you mean all women. I don't.
Yes.
Yeah, but how do you even deal with women that are just in your space, that are your friends, that work with you? And I think little basic things, like I started really tuning myself in to doing basic things like listening more, just checking in on people.
Yes.
Understand, I'm gonna tell you the truth. It doesn't make a big difference to me if my friends, like I have some of my guy friends, we don't really call each other and say, how are you doing, man? Are you feeling okay? Like, we don't do that. We say, solve your own problems, right?
Yeah,
But I learned,
you're on the surface. You were just on the surface. How you doing today?
we really do. We really do. And I'm gonna tell you, but it's like, but I really started thinking, how can I as a man do a better job in that role? And I think all men, as an aspect of self-improvement, really have to think more about these sorts of things, because you have so many women. I read a book, Black Pain, by Terry Williams. And Terry, she lives in New York, and she's a friend of mine. And she talked about how many Black women are struggling with depression, and they don't even know it's depression.
Yeah, no, because
so I mean, did you want to speak to that? Please go ahead.
yeah, absolutely. I will speak to that. My girlfriend, she's a counselor, therapist as well, and we talked about just this whole myth of we have to be strong. We have to have our capes on at all times, at all costs. And from that, we don't always recognize those signs of depression. We think, oh, we're withdrawing right now. We're tired. We want to, we're trying to rekindle, get the energy back up. But it also could be that you're start battling some depression, some anxiety kicking in. We're overloaded. We're multitaskers by nature, right? For us females. And we tend to just do. And we can handle that. But it's sometimes we must say, okay, when is enough is enough? And to take care of ourselves and give ourselves permission to do so, to say, hey, I need some help in this area, and I'll use my village. I think we've really gotten away from utilizing our village, because we're supposed to be this independent, strong, pull yourself up by your bootstraps type of deal. And we have to get back to the village, coming together and helping one another in need of crisis, whether it's a medical crisis or whether it's depression, because the depression is real in the Black community. And as a social worker, I see it all the time. I see it in the kids that I work with in the elementary school. And we just really need to say, okay, recognize the signs. Know if you're being withdrawn, you're not wanting to do some of the things that you usually enjoy, or you're not wanting to just kind of go out and be out and things normally do. You have anxiety, you might have the blues, you might say, oh, you know what, it was loss, it was grief. But after a certain period of time, you you need to seek medical professional. And it's okay for that. It's okay to talk to somebody, to say, you know what, I'm going through this divorce, I had some, this is a loss, it was a grief, I'm battling this, I'm not in a good place right now. And to go talk to someone, or, you know what, I just had this miscarriage, and I'm not in a good place. Go talk to someone. Or, I've got this illness, and, it's hurting me because I've been so independent, and I'm such a go-getter, and I kind of my own business, my own affair, but I'm not in a position to do this right now. And it's taking a toll on me mentally and physically. Go talk to someone. And I think, we often just say, you know what, I'm gonna pray about it. Don't get me wrong, I love God more than anybody. You understand what I'm saying? But at the same time, I need to go talk to somebody, and I need to understand that and know that it's okay.
Well, I like that. And everybody who just tuned in, I'm talking to Tiffany Stoner. We're talking about single women and cancer. And Tiffany, in honor of her friend Inge Debro, started Ingas House, which is a nonprofit organization for single women battling cancer. So what I'm specifically doing is I'm specifically asking you, those who are watching, to go to ingashouse.org. It's spelled INGE, ingashouse.org, and make a donation. I'm going to go make a donation. I hope that you'll do the same thing. And I think that it's very important that we have these conversations. So do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button, hit the share button, hit the subscribe button. I want to ask everybody in the chat to also do this. Give me a yes or no if you've had anybody in your family that you know of that has struggled with cancer, or either battled it or died from it. Say their name in the chat.
Yes,
right?
Please do. Say their name.
Yeah, let's bring the ancestors back to life. Say the name of the person that died from cancer. God dang it, I'm getting emotional because I want to say my grandmother's name, Felicia, and I can't talk about my grandmother that much because every time I do, I start getting choked up.
Yeah,
I like, you know what I'm talking about? I can't. It's such a it's almost embarrassing to say that, because you try to be a big tough guy and everything. And I start talking about my grandmother, and I will mention her in different speeches. And every time I start saying her name or telling her story, I say, "Uh-oh, here it comes." And I'll be like, "Okay, I'm gonna start talking now."
But in your quiet space, just let it flow and let it live on. Because at the end of the day, I had the most outstanding grandmothers. Cleta Brandon, she died from blood cancer. So say their names, because that is what's been our foundation. That's been our rock where we come from. There's no shame in it. We want their legacy to live on. And at the time, and that's what this is about, Inga's legacy living on. She was educating the community. She told her story. She shared every moment of her walk and her journey. So.
All right. Well, I see some names. I want to say some names out loud, and I'm trying to. I'm not, because I just want you, Tiffany, in the crazy internet space that I'm in, if I shed a tear, I will get clowned on the internet big time. They gonna meme me.
Michael Jordan meme.
they will turn me into a meme. So I got to be careful here. But I'm gonna say some names, and I tell you what, I feel like when we say their names, I really feel like we're really breathing life into these ancestors, like they're coming back, and I see Latanya Marie Harvey, Elizabeth, Auntie Queenie. Say some more names, guys, and I'll try to mention as many names as I can. And of course, Felicia, my grandmother, Inga, who inspired Inga's House. So tell me this. So Tiffany, in your background, you are is it social work? Is that what you're trained in?
Yeah, I'm trained. I have an undergraduate degree in social work, but my master's in school counseling.
Okay. And so it almost sounds like you have also, in addition to your work with Inga's House, kind of a bent toward empowerment for maybe women and girls in particular. Can you kind of talk about that? Because you had an organization for young girls too, right? That you
Yes, I do. I do summer camps as well in the summertime. I do Beautiful Know Your Worth, as I mentioned earlier. It's a girls camp for girls, self-esteem camp, to kind of self-empowerment. We talk about knowing your worth. What does that mean? What does it look like? Knowing your worth as far as understanding what your thoughts are, where you want to be, where you want to go, how you're going to get there, who's going to help you. And, we talk about depression. We talk about anxiety. We talk about boys, we talk about all these things. It's geared towards girls 13 to 18 years old. So we talk about the multifaceted. We talk about the media. What is it? The impact it has on you. What are your thoughts about yourself? Relationships, backgrounds. We talk about all those things in a week-long camp. We also do Destined for Greatness. It's an all African-American males camp that I bring in nothing but African-American men, that they see professional Black men. They see men that's in trade, drywall, construction. They see in the Black engineer, they see the MBA person, because I think it's important that we teach our kids that, hey, you can accomplish anything, but also for them to have an outlet to be able to express themselves. So that's in my third camp is Future Advocates, finding your purpose and finding your compassion, finding your passion and your compassion. And I teach boys and girls in this particular camp about philanthropy, giving back, teaching them how to write grants, showing them, how to do windshield surveys, how to look at their community and look beyond of what you're seeing and what is the needs of your community, because it starts at a young age. It's not automatic that people want to serve. It's a blessing if you have that gift. God's giving you that gift, but if it's not, it has to be developed. And so just really teaching youth to be develop those skills and understand what that means to do community outreach and to give back.
All right. Well, I love that. I love that a lot. And I'm going to read some of the names. I see some of y'all put some names in here of cancer survivors or cancer victims in your family. So let's bring some ancestors back to life real quick. I see Sister Billette, my cousin Chris, and now my youngest sister Hope. Tara, the Cherokee native, says that. Cancer survivor Rose Noble, 87 years young, from Gwendolyn. Strong family history of several different cancers. Glenette Sutton's sister. I see Carol. I see Claire, Calvin, Tracy. Dosarine, that's a great name. And Ralph, my dad from Leela. God bless you. Beverly Jean Johnson. Oh, sorry, Beverly Jean Dawson. Excuse me, Beverly Jean Dawson. Dr. Hadia Nicole Green, a Black scientist, discovered a cure for cancer. Okay, says Tara. They will be broadcasting it. Okay, well, that would be nice. I'm going to check that out.
Yeah,
let's see here. Let's see. All three of my aunts live well, says Dominique, and was blessed to die in their sleep. My Aunt Gloria, my Aunt Carol. All right. Well, Ashe, and God bless all your ancestors. And I'm gonna tell you what, Miss Stoner, I love what you're doing with Ingas House. I think that what you're doing is great. And I'm asking everybody that's watching, ingashouse.org, INGE, Ingas House, INGES, ingashouse.org, which is a nonprofit organization devoted to single women fighting with cancer, so they don't have to go through this alone. I hope that you'll support this. We have to support our own institutions if we want them to grow. And also, I did actually gather some information. I was reading some on WebMD about Black women and cancer, and of course, I'm not going to read too much about it, but I will say that the leading cause of cancer for Black women is breast cancer, and by far the most common cancer among all women, Black or white. And so that was what Inga passed from. The incidence of breast cancer is lower among African American women, yet this group has a higher rate of breast cancer deaths, possibly because cancers tend to be detected at later stages in Blacks than whites. Consequently, Black women are less likely to survive when cancer strikes. Their 5-year survival rate is 71% compared to 87% for white women. The survival rate for Black women jumps to 89% if the cancer is diagnosed. So if you get it diagnosed, then you can actually have a longer chance of survival. Yet 44% of newly diagnosed breast cancers found in African American women have spread to areas beyond the breast, compared to 35% for white women. So what to do? The breast self-exam and mammography are vital. Early diagnosis is critical. The other forms of cancer, number 2 on the list is the one that got my grandmother, which is colorectal cancer. And it's a case of good news, bad news, according to WebMD. The drop in deaths from colorectal cancer since the early 90s is the second biggest reason for the overall decline in cancer deaths among women. Yet Black women continue to be at greater risk for the disease, with a reported 46.7 cases per 100,000 for the period from 1987 to 1991, compared with a rate of 39.9 for women. So the data is a little bit old, but I think it still applies. Number 3 for cancers is lung cancer. That's the third most common cancer among Black females. It is also one of the most preventable. Tobacco smoking is the principal culprit. Lung cancer deaths among Black women may grow, given that smoking rates among African American teens have increased. The number 4 on the list is cervical cancer. Cervical cancer is one cancer that, quote, we're well on the way in this country of conquering, according to the doctor that they're speaking with here. So maybe some progress is being made. Not enough progress is being made. And so I encourage everybody to get informed about health. Get your checkups, find out what's going on with your body. Don't run away from the doctors and stuff like that. You got to go and find out what's going on and take control of that. So with that being said, I would like to give you the last word. And just so everybody knows, this is Miss Tiffany Stoner, founder of Ingas House, which is a nonprofit organization for women, single women battling cancer. The URL is ingashouse.org. It's in the description, in the bio. I'll put it in there, ingashouse.org, INGE. Please make a donation. I will make a donation. So Ms. Stoner, did you have any final thoughts?
Yes, I just want to also say that we really have to also watch our diets, in the Black community. I can't say it enough. Sugar. Cancer feeds off sugar. Inflammation in the body. Sugar creates inflammation in the body. We have to make sure that we're on an alkaline diet. I can't stress it enough. Greens, veggie, you can have meat, but at the same time, you don't need too much meat. So I'm just going to tell you that our bodies are made to heal themselves. If we making sure that our body's intact on a cellular level, then we would do our body more justice. And so I know that it's hard, and sugars, it's one of those things we won't have sugars in everything. So, but if we do a better job with our diets as well and reduce our stress and exercise, we will be ahead of the game. And once again, prevention. Educate yourself.
There we go. Wise words. I love it. Everybody, please join me in giving a digital round of applause to this Black woman who is doing something great with the world. She took the tragedy of her cousin's death and turned that into something that will benefit many people's cousins over time. Ingas House is the foundation is based in Louisville, Kentucky, the same city that Breonna Taylor died. And I'm from Louisville, so I'm very proud of Louisville. I'm wearing my Ballard High School.
Yes, I see that.
Yeah. So that's close to my heart too. But I'm gonna go make a donation now. I hope you guys will go to ingashouse.org, INGES, ingashouse.org, and just put something in the pot. Let's create our own institutions, and we have to do that. You guys know, you might know the cost model of freedom that we actually create. I don't talk about it much, but it's something we talk about a lot in the Black Business School, which is cost stands for, if you want to pay the cost for your freedom, cost stands for contribute, own, save, invest, target. So contribute means that if you want Black institutions to grow, we must be the benefactors of those institutions. We must pay it forward to build the institution. So the contribute part is the first part of the cost model. So let's pay the cost for our freedom, and let's also stand by our awesome women in the community, especially like Miss Stoner. So Miss Stoner, I'm gonna have you back. I can tell you're smart, very well spoken, and you got a lot going on. You got Ingas House, you got all those camps, and so tell me,
I'm busy.
Everybody say something in the chat. Let me know if you think I should bring Miss Stoner back. I think she's a smart lady that has a lot of great things to add to the world. So we can talk again in the future. So anyway, guys, hit the thumbs up button on your way out, and God bless you. And the URL is right there in the chat, ingashouse.org, INGES. Please feel free to make a donation, and we are out of here. You guys have a great day, and we will see you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.